Hi, this is Lisa, and I'm just going to do a basic review over Chapter 1 to help you study for your test. I think your book does a great job in going over the different component parts of the words, of the medical terms, the look-alikes and sound-alikes, talks a good bit about the importance of spelling and also abbreviations. But there are some things that I want to highlight that I'm not sure that the book did a great job with. So the first thing that we're going to talk about are there actually are objectives for medical terminology. And there's three of them. The first one is to analyze the word by dividing them into component parts. The second objective is relating the medical term to the structure and function of the body. And the third is be aware of spelling and pronunciation. I think the first two we're going to hit more on. The third one, I think your book's done a great job in talking about the look-alike and sound-alike words that you need to be aware of when we're defining medical terms. So the first thing that we're going to talk about are the word elements. Again, we have different elements of a medical term. The first one that we're going to talk about is the word root. The word root is the foundation of the medical term. It is the part that defines which body part we're talking about. So if we look at the word appendicitis, append is the word root, and it means the appendix. And so that word root is the foundation of that medical term. Every single medical term has at least one word root. Some of them may have two or three, but every single medical term has one word root. The second word element that we're going to talk about is the suffix. And the suffix, just like in the English language, is at the end of the word. Every single medical term has a suffix. It must have a suffix, okay? Because that suffix is telling us what's going on, what's happening. Is there an inflammation? Is there an enlargement? Is there a disease process going on? So it's telling us what's going on with that body part. Okay. The next word element is the prefix. And again, just like in English, the prefix goes at the beginning of the word. Now, not all med terms need to have a prefix. Sometimes we don't need to, because what a prefix is telling us is the time, the location, the number, and sometimes it's just not needed in a medical term. So if we go back to appendicitis, we don't need to know anything else, that it's just an inflammation of the appendix. We don't have to worry if it's, above or below, or if there's two or there's three. Is all we need to know is that the appendix is inflamed. The next word element that we have is the combining vowel. And with the combining vowel, what it's used for strictly is truly to help us pronounce the medical terms more easily, which sometimes isn't so easy, by the way, as you'll learn as you do your pronounce homework. So we just put a combining vowel at the end of the word root to be able to link it to a suffix or another word root to help us pronounce the word easier. Okay, usually it's the letter O, but you'll see an I come up or possibly an A every now and then, just to throw you for a loop. And then the last word element that we're going to talk about is the combining form. The combining form is actually the word root plus the combining vowel. So if you look at this example, we have hematology here. Logy is the suffix, and a little hint here, if you see the hyphen before the word, it's a suffix. If you see the hyphen after the word, it is a prefix. If you don't see a hyphen, like with this word, it's a word root. And if you see a word that has a /O, that's going to be the combining form. That's an important hint for your test. Okay? So when we look at this, we have hamat, which is the word root. We have the combining vowel of O. And if we put that together for hamato, that's the combining form. And we usually say this because it's easier to say than the word root. Okay? So those are all the word elements that you have, but we actually have some rules. And this is where I think that the book really misses, because these rules aren't covered, but these rules are incredibly important for how we put medical terms together. Okay? So the first thing is rule number 1, and this is the most important rule, and it will come to bite you in the behind in future tests if you don't learn this rule right now. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is when we read the meaning of a medical term, we start at the suffix and then we go back to the beginning of the word and read it across. So let me say that one more time. We start at the suffix, which is right here, gram. It means record or picture. Then we go to the beginning of the word and then start to define the word across. So on your future tests, I'm going to be asking you to define medical terms. I don't want you to give me all the fluff of what it means. I'm asking for the literal definition of the medical term, which would be a record or picture of the electrical activity of the heart. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for you to tell me, oh, it's a test that they run to see what's going on with the heart. I know what an EKG is. I want you to know what this word means. So again, we start at the suffix and then we go to the beginning and we read across. Okay? Rule number 2. Rule number 2 is drop the combining vowel before a suffix that begins with a vowel. So when we look at that, what we want to do is if we have a suffix that begins with a vowel, we're going to drop that O. Remember, the old O is only used for ease of pronunciation. If we already have a vowel here, it's going to be easier for us to pronounce. So as you can see in the word, we've dropped that combining vowel and our medical term now is gastritis. Okay, and let's go back to rule 1. Itis is inflammation of the stomach. That's how I would want you to define this word. Okay. Rule number 3. If we have a combining vowel before a suffix that begins with a consonant, we are going to keep that combining vowel. So if our suffix begins with a consonant, we're going to keep the combining vowel. So because megaly begins with a consonant, we're going to keep that, and our term will now be cardiomegaly, an enlargement of the heart. Okay. And last but not least, the rule of keeping the combining vowel between 2 word roots, regardless if it starts with a consonant or a vowel. So if we have the term gastroenterology, we can see as it's broken apart, we have gastro, entero, and logi. This is the study of the stomach and the small intestines. So even though this word root begins with a vowel, we're still going to keep the combining vowel in between the 2 word roots. This is very, very important. Okay, we're going to drop this one because our suffix begins with a vowel with a consonant, but this one we have to keep. So the study of the stomach and the small intestine. Now, the great thing is with medical terminology, when we go back and look at the rules, remember when we're supposed to analyze them and look at the body parts? Well, let's say we really don't know what this gastroenterology means. So we're going to break this word apart Okay, so we know that logi is the study of, and we know gastro is the stomach, but we're not quite sure what entero is. The great thing about medical terms are they are in anatomical order. And so whatever comes first in the body anatomically will come first in the medical term. So if we know this is the stomach, whatever's following has to be after the stomach anatomically. So that doesn't leave a lot. We've got the colon and the rectum, okay? So we can pretty much guess that this is the study of the stomach and intestines or small intestines. And we can at least know which body system we're looking in. Now, I don't ever want you to guess. I would much rather have you look, but it does give us an idea of which body system we're talking about. Okay. Hopefully that helps you with the rules of medical terminology, the different word parts. On your test, you're going to have to put medical terms together and take medical terms apart. So please be confident in that. The other thing your book does talk about are those look-alike words. So you will need to know those suffixes and prefixes. We're going to really be focusing on those two things the first two chapters. I have a handout for both of those under chapter 1. So please be learning those prefixes and suffixes because you will be tested on them not only now, but truly for the rest of the semester. You've got to know those because we can attach that to any body system. The other thing that's going to be incredibly important as we get into the body systems are learning the abbreviations. So make sure as we get into later chapters, at the very end, it talks about the abbreviations with body systems. You will need to know those. And I'll remind you of that as we get into those chapters. If you have any questions, let me know. Good luck studying and good luck on your test.